What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Photos by Mikey YouTube channel. Again, my name is Mikey, your host for today. I got my good buddy Nick. What's up, Nick?
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
He's also a wedding photographer as well. And so today we got some time to kill. We are heading to Palm Springs Art Museum for an event. And so we're covering photo and video. But we figured we got some time to kind of give you guys some advice, since both of us have been doing wedding photography for a while now. And so if you guys are a brand new photographer trying to get into weddings, we're gonna give you guys some advice, right? So what I would actually recommend if you guys are starting out as a wedding photographer, but you've kind of been doing family sessions or portrait sessions, is to actually again, find a mentor, find another established photographer to shadow or assist, and eventually you become their second shooter. Because again, the hardest thing of booking more weddings is getting that portfolio up and running right away. And sometimes it's as easy as just sending an Instagram DM or an email to that photographer that you kind of like. You like their style, you guys have the same kind of approach, and sometimes you just have to kind of send contact more, because sometimes not everybody's gonna be willing to do that. But that's the first thing I would do, is just kind of reach out to other photographers and see if you can kind of shadow them and become their assistant and get those photos so you can build up your portfolio. So all right, Nick, how about you? Any advice for new wedding photographers out there?
Yeah, I agree with you. Reach out to local photographers, go on Google wedding photographers, or whatever you're trying to get into, whether it's weddings, portraits, any of that. Google it, go on Instagram, location search, send messages. If you can't find them on Instagram, Google, check out their websites, see if there's an option to any contact information or anything like that. And a little bit of advice I would give if you're new into the game, and say we'll go on gear, if you're building up your gear, I recommend checking out your used market. Look at the used market. Try not to overspend getting the latest and greatest new gear. I mean, unless you can. But check out the used market. There's a lot of good used gear out there. That's one thing I would recommend, some advice. Check out some used gear, and then if you're building up, you're new into the game, you're trying to build up all your gear, and I would see what photographers are in your area that are local, or just even photographers in general that you might follow on Instagram. See what they're shooting on, see what they use, and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to kind of piggyback on that, because what I did in the beginning, I only had one camera body, and I couldn't afford those expensive lenses, like the professional lenses. So I actually rented a lot of gear in the beginning, because for me, I really wanted to level up my work, but I just couldn't afford to spend $2,000 on a really expensive lens. But you don't have to do that in the beginning. You can just rent the camera gear. Actually, you can pretty much rent the whole setup. You can rent the body, the lens, a flash. You can even rent batteries, SD cards. I mean, you can rent everything you can do stuff. You can rent online. I'm sure there's a local store. You just have to probably Google that. But that's one way to kind of save money. Of course, use that to kind of write off as expenses. But again, it's you just make it work. If you really want to become a professional wedding photographer, you have to level up your game. But that takes time, right? One of the things I would recommend also is just start a website. I know a lot of photographers that I still know don't have a website. It's really easy nowadays. I mean, it's super simple. A lot of the websites provide templates that you can literally just set up and upload images. You don't really even have to do coding or have WordPress. Like Squarespace, for example, or Wix are really simple. That's where I started, was Wix. Then eventually switched to Squarespace, and then now I have a little bit more of a customized platform that I use. But having a website, it just makes you more legitimate in terms of a professional photographer. Whenever someone asks for your work, like, of course it's great to show your Instagram, but if they know you have a website, okay, I'm more legitimate, and you can provide more info on the website. Like on Instagram, it is great to have an Instagram account, right? But it's hard to really show off like a full gallery, or to show like maybe a Q&A or your bio on there. And any successful company has a website. So again, and it doesn't cost that much. You can start with Squarespace as little as like $10, I think, $10 a month, right? Or I think there's even some free trials you can start off of. But starting off, just creating a website, again, gains your experience too, because you're gonna have to learn how to update your own website. And again, once you have that website, create the contact form, and that will help you kind of, again, become more professional instead of just clients sending you DMs on Instagram. So, any thoughts on a website, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. Start a website. Squarespace and Wix, two great places to start. You can get templates, start to a little area to start off for you, and you don't have to go too crazy with it in the beginning. Throw a good picture on there, so when people open up your website, they see a really good picture. But make sure you have your business name. I would invest in a logo, and if you can't, Canva is a great way to start. To make a logo, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Check out, Canva, maybe like some text with your name, and on your website, even if you're just starting, your main picture, an area, a contact page, the bare minimum, and that could really elevate. And if you could, while you're making it, add a portfolio section, and because Instagram and Facebook, all the social medias are really great it's free marketing. Instagram is free marketing, but once you put your photos on there, at any time that thing could crash. That could crash where your website's always on there and your work is there and you own it. So, yeah. And then kind of going from website, I would also say a big one too is invest in a course, invest into business knowledge, and check out some courses like on Skillshare or Udemy, Masterclass, YouTube is great. Learn business side of it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys always hear this all the time, but it's once you become a wedding photographer and you start your own business, it's so much more business than it is. You go and you photograph the wedding, and that's that day, and then you edit, and you spend your time editing. The rest of it, all the back end, you do so much more business than you'd probably ever imagine. How to do taxes. Me and you were just talking about taxes. Your taxes, your just itemization, you name it, your CRM, just everything of how to deal with business on the business side of it, and how to take care of your clients and yourself in the best way possible. Awesome.
Yeah. Again, that's a good point, Nick. Like having a client management system, or I refer to it as a CRM. I know in the beginning, I think we all make that mistake of like sending paper contracts or electronic contracts, or even just kind of just taking the client's word for it, which is really, really bad. Like, you don't want to just say verbal agreement because it's not in writing. So highly recommend that you have some way of sending a binding contract, whether if you're still doing paper documents, that's, again, if it works for you. But nowadays, online systems are just amazing. Like, I know I started off on honeybook.com. I know Nick eventually got his account as well. But Honeybook is like an all-in-one platform that provides like templates on contracts. You're able to accept payments on there. Like you can even do ACH transfer, and you can manage all your clients in one platform. Especially when you start getting busier and busier, it's very difficult to keep track of like did this client sign the contract yet? Did I follow up with this client? You can do so much on this platform that you can even schedule appointments on the platform. Again, it's one of the things I would highly recommend, even if you're not fully established, because you learn a lot from the admin side. Again, it's just also running. If you want to be successful, you have to run a successful business. But it's 100%. I would recommend HoneyBook. I've been using since the beginning. If you guys, a quick, shout out. If you guys want a link, and there's a discount code on the description down below here. If you want to try it out, there's a link in my description down below for HoneyBook. But yeah, so that's definitely something to think about and start. Let's see. I think another thing that I would also recommend if you are starting out as a brand new photographer is to actually just, again, like, be active on social media. Like, there's been so many people I've met, even like other wedding vendors, that hardly post anything on social media. And if you think about who your ideal client is, right? Most of them, like my ideal clients, are typically between the age of 25 to 38. So most of them are going to be on the Instagram platform. Besides Facebook, they're more active on Instagram. So nowadays, a lot of people are basically scrolling through Instagram to find their vendors. And again, one way to get more reach out there is just to stay consistent and post, right? I mean, if you don't post anything, you're gonna miss out. And so whether it's just posting photos, posting your work, posting reels. Again, reels have a lot more engagement than, posts on your feed. Or photos on your feed, because everybody is pretty much addicted to watching reels. I know I sometimes find myself just scrolling endlessly for like 5-10 minutes.
Scrolling.
Yeah, I don't even think about it, because like some of those reels are just so addictive. So, but there's a reason why they are like that, right? And so you want to kind of take advantage of that. And with Instagram, you can basically link your business Facebook account as well, and so you're getting a little bit of both. Whenever you post something on Instagram, it's going to post on Facebook at the same time. But yeah, it's, again, don't be scared about posting your work. Everybody starts somewhere. Everybody is going to eventually get better as they get more bookings. They shoot more. I mean, that's just the name of the game. Like, you have to continue to just show your work, and eventually someone will get attracted to your style. Let's actually talk about styles a little bit on here, because maybe some people are a little bit confused about that, because I know in the beginning when I started, there were so many different styles. But for me personally, I get kind of attracted to more of a natural, more of a modern look. I know there's I know a few years back there's that hazy orange look. I know black and white's coming back again. Cinematic film look. You have, what else, Nick?
Light and air. You got light and airy. You have there are black and white photographers out there who just shoot black and white.
Darking.
What's that?
Darking.
Oh yeah. And dark and moody, like you were saying. And yeah, there's all sorts of styles out there. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think as a creative, right, you probably want to kind of try a little bit of everything in the beginning. Like, it may not be wedding photography as well. Like, you may want to just kind of try different genres. And that's kind of what I did in the beginning. Well, I just shot everything, because I figure, like, if I want to get good at photography, I have to be able to shoot anything at any time. And with weddings, like, you're gonna be challenged, right, to do so many different aspects of photography. Like, you're gonna have to shoot details, you're gonna have to shoot portraits, you're gonna have to shoot like action shots. You're gonna have to be able to understand low light, different lighting conditions, or you're gonna have to be able to direct people, communicate with other vendors. So there's so much things in the beginning that you have to learn. It's just you have to be a sponge, like Nick was saying. Just educate yourself as much as you can, watch as much YouTube content. If invest in a course that breaks everything down for you, or invest in a course from someone that you enjoy their style, right? But overall, I would say, like, just be hungry, be open to new ideas, and be consistent in terms of learning every single day. And eventually, your time will come, and you're able to raise those prices. Any last minute advice, Nick?
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback off of the style thing. And I was thinking about, there's a big, in our industry, there's a lot of photographers that love the natural light photography look. And when it comes to weddings, I absolutely love natural light. I shoot natural light as much as I can. But I will say it will benefit you like no else if you learn how to do flash. Especially off-camera flash. It just gives you dynamic looking photos that natural light just can't create with natural light, basically. And I would say learn flash, especially for reception, even if you don't want to necessarily get into the off-camera flash thing for portraits. You definitely will need it when it's dark, and you most of the time when we do these weddings, we're in these reception halls, and the first dance comes on and all the lights turn off, and there's just some ambient lighting, and there's nothing in your photos. These new cameras can do wonders at high ISOs, but they can't do that go that high. You're getting up to like 25,000 or 25,000 on the ISO range, and it's not gonna, it's gonna fall apart. So definitely learn flash. It'll benefit you more than you know.
Awesome. And last thing on that, for you all tech nerds out there or gearheads out there, you're probably wondering, like, what setup should I buy? So if you are gonna buy a whole new setup in 2024, most of the mirrorless cameras out there are excellent. Like, it doesn't really matter what brand. But again, let's talk about the fundamentals. So this is what I recommend if you're just gonna buy a beginner setup for wedding photography. So number one, get a mirrorless camera that has 2 SD cards, right? So that could be like the A7R or A7 III, or the Canon R6s. It could be pretty much any camera that does that, because you want dual backups to make sure that you don't lose the files. Second thing I would buy is a lens that is able to zoom in and out. So a 24 to 70 millimeter or something even longer. I know there's lenses out there now, I think by Sigma, that can go even to like 135. I think Canon just came out with 24 to like 105, that's 2.8, something like that. So that's gonna give you the ability to pretty much shoot at different lengths, especially for on the wedding day. You're gonna have to zoom in and out, and sometimes you need a wide, focal length to shoot wide things like a group shot or the venue, or you're in a tight situation. But sometimes you need something to compress. You need to get a little bit more closer to the subject. And for example, like the ceremony, you probably need, sometimes you can't be as close to the couple, so you need to be able to zoom in. Last gear I would recommend is a flash. It could be any flash that goes in your camera, because like Nick was saying, you're gonna run into situations where the light could change any moment, any time, and now even though you raise that ISO, the camera's still not gonna be able to compete with the darkness. It's gonna look really bad. I mean, I've been in some venues where literally I'm in a cave and it's completely dark. There's no ambient light, and even if you have a 1.8 or 1.2, it's still really grainy. So having on-camera flash on wedding day is critical in my opinion, and I think it's a must for any wedding photographer. Especially if you have a lot of venues that are indoors. So Well, all right, guys. Hopefully that was helpful content for you guys. Again, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that like button, and comment down below what's your current gear. If you want to know, because I know there's always new gear coming out. But if you guys like to see more content, again, keep following us, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.